Those who face eternity easily forget what a lifetime means, what an ending means.
You know it doesn't have to be this way.
No, Kunavine, it does. They need me.
Well, morning guys, it's 8:30, the start of day 3 of beta 3, in which we look at the last 3 of the elite specializations, the Mechanist, the Spectre, the Untamed. I've now played them all, and we were discussing something kind of funny over in the Spud Discord the other day that I actually quite like the idea of. That's doing a tier list. Unironically, I kind of want to do a tier list here of these elite specs for this round, all of the End of Dragons ones, give you guys a bit of a sense of where I am with them now that I've played them all. Now, I do want to be clear, the middle 3, I did play beta 2, but I didn't play it as much as I wanted, really, so my opinion might be a little bit wonky about those. But here's the thing, what I really want to rate here is, like, theme and idea, animations, work, like fantasy, those kinds of sides of elite specs. I suppose you could do a tier list here that is all about efficacy, and then in terms of efficacy, what's your mindset? Is it world versus world efficacy? Is it PvP efficacy? Is it raiding efficacy, strike missions, so on? But that's not really too interesting to me. I think that's just going to change over the metas. That's going to change a ton, even on by the time we get to beta 4, presumably, right? We'll hopefully see big changes to some of these. So really, I just want to dive into like the main ideas and ambitions and tell you guys what I think. And it's a weird one for this round as well. If this is fun and people like it, I'd love to go back and do the other expansions, because I've seen you guys in the comments, you're so lukewarm about this round of elite specs. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are excited about them as well, but I genuinely never sensed when it came to the other Guild Wars 2 expansions, like kind of this sense that people just really aren't that game for them. I'm not sure I'm that low down in my enthusiasm, but let's see. So we've got 5 tiers here: S tier, A, B, C, and D. And I guess I'll just go through the list at my instinct. I haven't really prepared for this. So see, the first icon I have here is the Catalyst. So I have to be honest, Catalyst out of these 9, my instinct is to put it in the lower half. Not a very good start, I suppose. The reason for that is kind of what I said as it was coming out. And again, this isn't really an efficacy thing. Like, my temptation here is to say, well, it goes in the lower half because it felt so clunky to play. You know, I actually think it has a really cool idea that makes me want to put it high, which is, you know, combo fields go into auras, auras go into other effects. You get lots of combo fields from a new mechanic that has like this really versatile moving field you keep with you. I actually think that's a really cool idea. That's like an S or an A tier idea. It's implemented a bit wonkily, hopefully in the later betas, and by the time it comes out, that's refined away. But even with all of that considered, I still can't get over the fact, you know, it's an aura-y, frontlinery, bruisery thing, which really, I know that a lot of people think of the Weaver as something else, and obviously it's had other playstyles, but a barrier sword, you know, a barrier pumping, point-blank melee, sword user as the Weaver was, kind of hit that archetype, and auras kind of was a Tempesty thing. I feel like it didn't hit new grounds. There's so many exciting concepts I had for this thing, in terms of like playing with attunements, adding new attunements, mixing attunements, and we just didn't get very much. And again, I don't really like the name too much. So honestly, my instinct is to put it C tier, and this is like comparative to the other stuff. So yeah, that's where that one goes. Next, we have the Blade Swan. Blade Swan I love. Blade Swan is probably going S. I think, you know, and this is kind of a funny one where it's almost the reverse of the Catalyst. The Blade Swan, I didn't get much time with on beta 2, so it felt really clunky to me. I never actually figured out how to play it that well, but it doesn't matter, because again, I think that stuff might get refined out. And what do we have at the end? We have kind of a fascinating new wild thing that's doing these big numbers that, you know, you can call it superficial, but it's fun to do the big numbers. You know, it's got the 3 cool modes. It hooks into Dragon Slash, the Canthan Elite from Guild Wars 1 Warrior, so, you know, it kind of hits my nostalgia in some fun ways. I think the animations are really beautiful, and yeah, just a bit of clunkiness and a bit of playstyle misalignment from me, but I really think it might be my favorite of this whole set. I really love the Blade Swan. You know, it's got all the ammunition stuff. But people kind of talk down about pistol, but I thought pistol was really fun to use. It's got like explosions. Even just mousing over the tooltips, you can kind of feel how robustly made it is and how it interacted with the other lines. It's got like the shout heal concept on it, so fun buildcraft. I mean, it's just brilliant. I love the Blade Swan. So it's going to the top. Okay, next we have Harbinger. Now, this one is weird for me because Harbinger was really overtuned. Like, ludicrously overtuned. Which means my experience on it is actually S tier. In the beta, I actually really loved it because, you know, it's so fun to go to the Fire Djinn challenge and nuke everything. Or it's fun to take it into PvP and you know, do reasonable with it. However, it doesn't really do... If it wasn't overloaded... Do I really think the kit feels that meaty and distinct? Not really. I actually think it feels kind of floaty and weird with all the movement it's got on it. In not like a very positive way to me. It doesn't feel as cool as even Core Necro Shroud, I think. And definitely not Reaper, you know, and Reaper's the elite specialization. Maybe we should be comparing it to. I did like Pistol. I love that skill 3 on Pistol being like a stun that could then set me up to follow with an Emobe on like a Dagger 3, for example. Or snap into them with an Axe 3 or an Axe 2. And so I like those combos. That sense of stunning, weapon swapping, or stunning going into Shroud was really fun. So I kind of like the flow of the playstyle. And I really, you know, uninspired as you might say the pistol was, it's basically just an engineer pistol in almost every way. It's just got like a blind substituted for a stun / daze. Even with that, I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it. I think I'm gonna put it at B tier. And here's another thing, by the way. A lot of people like drag it down because of the elixirs. They say, oh, you know, there's no special animations on them, blah blah blah. It's not that fun. But I see it's efficient design with the elixirs, but I quite enjoy them. So yeah, I think I'm going to put it at B tier, maybe A. Oh god, hard decision. I'm going to put it A. I'm going to put, no, I can't put A. It's B. It's B. There's bits I really like. When this thing's not overtuned, I think it's going to feel weird. And you got to remember, like, the name Harbinger and the idea of the shroud and you're ticking down and stuff. And none of that really felt like it manifested in something profound. It just felt like really weird and like a bunch of like yo-yoing health bar stuff. So I don't think it really hit on a vision very well. So yeah, it goes to B. I think it does go to B. All right, next we got Mechanist. So I think Mechanist is going to be either A or S tier. This thing's beautiful. I really like the trait layout. I know some people think, oh, it's like we've lost traits. Our traits just allow us to change the F skills, so they're not real traits. But you know, the traits come packaged with other benefits. In some places, you're looking like triple traits. I love that I can change a trait and actually it affects it like augments the way the mech looks. Now, if you watch me playing these specs and doing a deep dive on, like I did like a fight. I think I've like streamed about 7 hours of this so far. If you watch me on the Mechanist, you'll see that not all of the traits customize the way that the mech looks. It's only the first ones, but still, it's cool. And so then there's the matter of the playstyle. It's a god. It runs around with, it's a huge part of your kit, and it's like almost like an AFK kind of spec. It's very simple, very basic. Now, I think that might drag people something down low in their ratings. To me, that's very high in the ratings, though, because as I've said in my videos recently, I think Guild Wars really needs this playstyle. All right, if 1 out of 27 elite specs really pays off on this, I think that's a good thing. The only other place that Guild Wars has it right now is kind of with Minion Monster to a certain degree. And I think these builds are important. I think it's important for skill clickers. I think it's important for really old people. I think it's really important for young people. I think it's important for people with low FPS, with high skill latency. And I want Guild Wars to be popular. And I know a lot of people listening in this video, they don't actually care that much about that sort of stuff. But I really care about this franchise. I think that certain playstyles should be delivered on, and I've got no problem with this being in the game. I actually love, okay, that I can go to people now. I could go to my mum, and I could say, hey, you can play End of Dragons, pick up a Mechanist. And people who play Mechanist are going to get, like, people are going to be snobs about them, and they're going to get a reputation that they're bad players, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that stuff. I think the game needs it. And I think it's been implemented really well. I'm putting it S tier. I'm putting it S. It's S tier. It's really good. Lots of fun. And I like the build craft on it as well. Like the fact that I could play power builds on the Condi traits was definitely quite interesting. Okay, so next we got the Spectre. Spectre is tricky one. The Spectre's tricky because, okay, I like the direct targeting. I think that is genuinely really good. And it's exciting, and I definitely got a sense, even playing in the beta, it's exactly as what I hoped. It's not incidental healing. It's like specific altruism. Like I was running around on my stream and I had specters following me, specifically using the abilities on me. And it feels like really good, you know. It feels much better than just like, oh, there's a healing rain here or a cone mantra generally splashed out in the area. It just feels better, and people can do it from a more significant range. I liked it a lot. The thing is, I haven't actually played it in any of that 10-man stuff right now, and I don't know whether right now it's carved out a niche for itself in those environs. And I know I said, oh, well, I'm not thinking about balance necessary or implementation here, so that shouldn't matter. But the thing is, I do actually view a risk for this thing not to see play, which would drop it all the way down here. You know, like, in theory, we could have had medkit NGs healing us in raids through all these years. Has that actually happened? No, it hasn't. Even though it's kind of there, it hasn't happened. So I'm a little bit worried it won't see play, or the balance will come too slow, blah, blah, blah. But if I ignore those misgivings... Okay, so here's the other thing. What I really wanted from this spec was like an edgy caster-feeling thief, like a Shadowmancer, that I could take into regular PvE and, like, fight enemies and, like, play through End of Dragons solo on. And I can't do that on this. I haven't found a good build for that, and I haven't found a playstyle that clicks. So it really is about it in the support environment, and I feel like there's a little bit of a risk. So this thing should be S or A for me. I think it goes down to B. It might even go down to C. It's not as bad as Catalyst. I think it sticks at B. I think honestly the Spectre goes to B for me for those reasons. Hopefully, and I'm kind of mixing tuning in there a little bit. Hopefully in the later betas it will be tuned such that, you know, its open world running around does feel a bit better. But it's a bit weird at the moment. You know, the targeting's weird. It doesn't work with action combat. You can target on a mini to teleport around. There's lots of strange stuff going on. And it makes me hard to assess it. But I don't think it's ever going to hit the highest levels, just because, like, if you look at the traits, it's so much more about support than I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd have, like, a Condi line, a power line, a supporty line. But no, it's like, here's 3 ways of supporting. You can tweak how you're going to do it. Oh, also, I don't really like the animations on some of this stuff. Like, the dual skill when your Scepter Pistol is... Scepter Dagger is just really weird. It's like a reused Guardian Sword 3. It's strange. I don't know. It's strange. I think I'll stick it at B, because it is at least ambitious in its ideas, and it has a clear idea. So I think it does deserve B. Okay, next, we've got the Untamed. Oh, this is weird. This is weird. Okay, so the premise of the Untamed. I'm rampaging around with my pet. I have a mode where I'm doing CCs, and then he's paying off with all these big impact abilities. And then he has a mode where he's setting me up, and I'm doing big impact abilities, and we're bouncing that primal mode back and forth between ourselves. We're unlocking powers of beast mastery between pets and synergies between pets that the other elite specs haven't done. Druid kind of ignored pet, Soul Beast had it merge with us. I love all of that. That's like S tier. It's really cool as an idea. But then in implementation, this thing just isn't, like, it almost feels like it almost feels like it's replacing the pet. It doesn't accent the existing pets. It kind of just goes over the top of them. So I don't think they've implemented it. I don't think they're even close to implementing this in the way that would make it do what it says on the tin in a satisfying way. So it actually drops really low for me for that. And, you know, just like the playstyle of running around spamming hammer skills, it's not that great. It's not that exciting. So it goes quite low. Now, here's the thing. I don't think it would ever go to D tier. But it is actually quite low in my estimation. A lot of what they've implemented. Here's the thing. There's a really broken cooldown trait at the moment, which meant I ended up having a ton of fun on it. Like a huge amount of fun. But that trait's definitely going to be nerfed. And I don't know what's left of the Untamed after that trait is nerfed. I don't know how it feels after that. And I feel like it isn't doing... It isn't highlighting pets in the way I wanted it to. But then some of the mechanics feel really good. Like F1, teleporting the pet around, feels awesome. The bubble doesn't feel as good as I kind of was hoping it would. But there's some... I think it's kind of middle of the road. I think I have to be a little bit... I have to make a decision here. I think I'm going to put it at C. If that trait isn't there, I think it's so far away from really paying off on the fantasy when I really get into the nuts and bolts of it. I think it goes to C. Oh, no, it doesn't go to C, does it? It's like Harbinger. It's a lot like Harbinger. It's just got like one element of it that's overtuned. Otherwise, I don't actually think they've done it. I don't really think they've done much transformative or magical with it. It's a lot like Harbinger, actually, yeah. Well, I enjoyed both of them, but for probably the wrong reasons. When I look at the truth of them, I'm not sure I'm that satisfied. Okay, so next we have the Revenant. This is the Vindicator. I think Vindicator is A. I think this is... there's a temptation to put it at A because the rung isn't there. So let me try and ignore that bias in my mind for a second. The reason I want to put Vindicator in A, though, is because it does a lot of fun stuff with dodge rolls. It has interesting Grandmaster tweak interactions. It's done something fun with, like, the double legend idea, and while some of the implementation feels a bit unsatisfying at the moment, it does have some cool ideas at its core, like the Earn Elite that's life-sacking you, but you're healing everyone around you. That's cool, that's new, that's different, that's fun. And, you know, like, the flipping of the duality of the skills, it feels a bit iffy, but that can get ironed out, and I think what we get once it's ironed out is actually something really interesting. And I like the Greatsword. The Greatsword was snappy and fun to use straight away. I think it has interesting traits, a clear, defined idea, a double legend. It's very easy to put that on the tin, and maybe, and they hit the fantasy reasonably well. And it was fun to play. It was fun to pick on play. So yeah, I think I'm going to put that at A, because at most levels, the Vindicator did actually land for me. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now we got the Virtuoso. I think Virtuoso is either down here with the Catalyst, or it might even be D tier. I just didn't have any fun with the Virtuoso. Like, if you're going to stand there against a golem and marvel at the hitbox damage, fine. But that's not what Guild Wars is. When it comes to running around in the open world, it just felt a bit clunky and strange and difficult to utilize. There's so much quality of life you can get on so many Mesmer variants now. It's kind of weird to me to see then there's the Virtuoso. I can play Super Glassy, I can see big numbers, but I just don't know whether the flow of it will feel that fun. I really don't. It definitely didn't feel very fun in the competitive environments. It was extremely wanting for me there. I never found a way to make it click there. And then we have a look at its overall ambition. What is the fantasy? What is it selling to me? I'm a Virtuoso. I have Mind Blades. It's just not... I don't know, it's not like a psionic really, but it's sort of half a psionic. It doesn't feel like a fun dagger thrower. And then there's the weird mismatch of the main... If this was a siege mage, okay, where it was like a 1500 range specialist, okay? So like you've already got a 1200 range kit on Greatsword. This thing's 1500 range. Its elite is 1800 range. It's a new thing. It's an 1800 range elite, guys. Wow. And by the way, that technically kind of exists with more with the back half of the radius anyway, but whatever, right? So like it's doing something new, and it's a siege mage. So what does that mean? It's really stationary, but it gives itself 25 might and quickness and alacrity and fury. It doesn't share that with other people, but guess what? It doesn't have to stack with everyone else. It can utilize its major range, but it feels stationary. You know, it's the League of Legends Xerath, but it's in Guild Wars, right? If it's doing that, that's a fantasy. That's something new. That's something special. And then, yeah, maybe it could be called the Virtuoso, but, you know, I would call it the Scion at that point, and I do stuff with it. Then we're at the S and we're at the A tier. It does none of that. And its main weapon is like a weird, almost like a PBOE thing. It has a whole combi line, which, yeah, look, I want Bloodsong to exist. I really do. That's such a cool idea for the trait names. All these traits have got the best trait names of any expansion we've seen so far. And theme and flavoring. But it's just not there. I'm going to put it D. I think it's at the bottom. It's my least favorite of the new set. The Virtuoso down there. And finally, we have the Willbender. God, I love the Willbender. I even just looking at the icon here, I love the Willbender. Look, Willbender was undertuned in the previous beta. It was undertuned, and I think that's clouded people's vision with it. The Willbender is cool. Aside from the fact that, you know, so when I played Willbender, I did everything I could to use all the new toys. You know, the new weapon, it's just an offhand, right? The new F abilities, the new utilities as much as possible. I tried my best to use them. Even with that, it has so much synergy with like Greatsword and stuff that it feels a lot like a core Guardian. So it loses points for that. It does feel a lot like a core guard. However, that might be a bit of a tuning thing. The martial arts, like monkey bodybuilding, like cool spinning stuff is awesome. A bit overshadowed, but all the crazy, like flashy blue lights everywhere. If the devs can find a way to emphasize the martial art animations instead of all the blue glow and craziness, I think it's going to go up. If they can emphasize the tuning of the utility skills a bit more, I think it's going to go up. If the sword offhand is tuned a little bit better, it's going to go up. Sword offhand's awesome. All the movement is awesome. The F abilities are really cool. I think it's A tier. It's not, no, it's probably S tier. I think Willbender is S tier. I think people don't realize it because it felt limp in the previous beta. I think when it doesn't fit, then it does feel a lot like a core guard. All right, it goes to A. It's like the top of A. Vindicator is the bottom of A. Willbender is the top of A. Willbender's really good. I like it a lot. So there you go. That's from the betas. Okay, our first round. with all the elite specializations. Those are my thoughts. You can get a little bit of my mindset and my concepts for the game there. We had a bunch of people put in their tier lists on the Spud Discord when this was made last night. So if you guys have your own ideas, obviously I read the comments, right? I'm always on the YouTube comments. I'm looking at them very closely. However, if you want to make your own precise one, we do have a channel there as well. You can find a link for it in the description. And let me know if you enjoyed this, guys. Let me know if you think I'm completely off base, because remember, 3 of these I didn't play as much as I should like to have to even really have an opinion on. And that's the 3 middle ones. Maybe Bladesworn doesn't deserve to be at S after all. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of what I think. And if this video does well, I'm watching the likes. I'm gonna watch the views and stuff on this. If you guys don't like get snobby with me and think this is lazy, which I think maybe you're fair to do. But if people like this, I mean, I'll do a tier list for Heart of Thorns. I'll do a tier list for PF, and then we'll do a grand melee where we have them all in, and we'll see. You know, when it comes to the true S tier, do either of these hit the amazing greats of the past? And we can sort of see how they all line up. But, you know, maybe that'll be something for down the road. So let me know, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out on my channel for other beta coverage. They did an amazing blog post about strike missions as well that I'd like to do. You can look at my second channel, WoodenPotatoes 2, which, like I said, is about 7 hours of elite specialization discussion from this recent beta. And I'm constantly live on Twitch at the moment, where you can catch all that as it's going on. So, yeah, please feel free. Check out the links. Just click show more in the description. It's all there. I hate sharing my stuff, but there you have it. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you for the next one very, very soon. Watch in the comments. Cool, I have to say, after recording that was a really fun video to make. Weird.